It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Welcome back to Inside the Patch. It's Gnarley Charley coming off the bye. We want to thank Fresno Rack and Shelving, Nice Rack, plus Valley Children's Hospital. Text the word Gnarley, Gnarley, to Valley Children's Hospitals. Wait, I said that wrong. Text the word Gnarley to 51555 for Valley Children's Hospital. I got to get that correct. We're 1430 ESPN, your Valley local sports leader. And coming off the bye, we haven't talked for a while, Mitchell. Mitchell Adams is here, the professor of the Perfect Rotation basketball training device, as seen right there on the show every week. Oh, and it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
Right. And so I was thinking about this the other day, because sometimes, when the football, man, there's something about when it rotates correctly, it's a spiral. Or if it rotates, gets the right bounce. And it makes me think of you every time now. You're the rotating guy. That's I always think about it, man.
I am the rotating guy.
Rotation.
I'll take it.
Well, so you got to invent the football one, too. We're coming up with that. For kickers. Where they tie to your foot. I don't know if they do that. Well, look, let's be realistic with everything. Since we've got a new coach, we've won 2 games, we've lost 2 games. Okay, we split it.
Yes.
But we got a big opportunity. Minnesota's coming to Vegas. We're pretty much in must-win situation for the rest of the year.
No doubt. I mean, if there's any chance, when you look at the playoff picture, I think we're sitting like number 13 in AFC.
Right.
We're in the hunt. And stranger things have happened.
Right.
You win all 5, you have a chance. That's all I can say. You have a chance. And it starts this week with Minnesota. However, Minnesota started off really slow this year, 0-3.
Right.
And then they're 6-6 now, but they lose their starting quarterbacks, and Dobbs comes in, and this guy's running all over the place. So, when you watch game film, it's like, okay, how do we contain these guys? Because Dobbs is faster than Cousins.
Right.
And it poses a whole different defensive strategy. So this isn't a game that you can overlook, despite how slowly Minnesota started off, because they're coming on strong. And they lost the game. I think they won when they brought Dobbs in. I think they won 2, and then they lost 1, and they may have. I tuned out. I'll be honest with you. I tuned out during the bye week, so I don't know who did what, because I took a break from football and just relaxed.
You needed to. But you know what? The one thing about the Vikings and the Raiders are similar in the fact that fans thought their season was over. And I did. I was like, here we're doing this show, and every week, it's like when you go to a support group and support the fact that we got problems. That's what I was learning every week. I'm like, man, but Minnesota's similar. They've got a new life. We've got a new life, and I just keep thinking back. I believe it was Super Bowl 11, and at the Rose Bowl when the Vikings, the better team.
Can we see the picture over that shoulder there?
Oh,
that's Jack Tatum over Sammy White there at the Super Bowl.
There it is. There it is.
When he knocked the helmet off.
And I don't know if you noticed that they had all these tributes to Madden a couple weeks ago.
Well, Thanksgiving, and they wear the Madden patch on their uniform.
But it makes me laugh that people don't know. And a lot of the kids don't know he was a Raider. And it's hard for us to understand that. But
same with Charles Barkley. A number of kids now only know him as an announcer.
Right.
They don't know that he was a very dominant player in his playing days.
Exactly. Or maybe as a bad golfer. They know him as a bad golfer too.
Who isn't a bad golfer?
Everybody is. I am. And it's that one shot out of 125 you take that day that you go, I'm coming back. This is fun.
It's funny that you mentioned 125. The first time I ever played, I shot a 126. Nice. And I remember there was that one shot, and it went up, and I said, I can do this.
I like the way that felt.
I was bitten by the golf bug that day, and thousands of dollars later in equipment and lessons and green fees, I'm still out there.
I'll tell you, Pat Hill used to be the coach of the Fresno State Bulldogs, and he had a big tournament. And I'm playing in the Pat Hill tournament. There's a lot of people around, right? And Pat was shotgunning a beer with people at almost every hole. So, like, I don't know how he was doing it. And I go up, I'm a lefty, and I slice my first shot into the water. Not the water in front of me, the water on the side. Whoop, over there. Like, I don't know how I even did that. I re-tee, and I hit it in the hole in front of hundreds of people. It's not a hole one. It's a 3. It's a par.
That's okay.
And I was like, I had a big crowd, but no.
I lost my mind.
You're supposed to buy drinks for everybody if you hit a hole in one.
That is true.
That's a par. That's a par. Sorry, no drinks for any of you guys.
That's true. It is only a par, but
it was a par. It was a cool par, but it was only a par.
Wow.
All right, so let's talk about our Raiders. There's a few things on the table I want to get your opinion on. One is that people are saying that they want Gruden back, where it might be possible. If Gruden drops the lawsuit, we might have him back. And I think it was a misquote. I think when somebody was talking to Mr. Davis, Mark, and they said he had liked him as a coach and this and that, and I think they took it as he wants him back. You know?
Yeah, I think the Gruden era with the Raiders is over. I really don't think you could go back. I mean, again, you could,
right?
You could do it, and I just think it would bring too much controversy to the team when we need some continuity and we need to be away from any sort of newsworthy or stuff that isn't football worthy, but they would make it newsworthy where you have TMZ out. It would just be too much of a circus.
Well, people say, okay, it's like Gruden got caught speeding, which Gruden got caught doing something wrong, but there were other people doing it too. But that doesn't mean he's still not guilty of speeding, you know. And if they let him come back, well, then every group is going to say, look, the NFL's okay with these emails, you know.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I don't think it can.
You don't need any more distractions other than what's happening on the field. No outside distractions, and that's all he would bring. And I mean, you could get focused, but if you were a veteran team, maybe.
Right.
We're still kind of young, still learning how to do things, still learning how to win. And I was talking to somebody earlier today about the Raiders, and not knowing how to play from out front and how to not hold the lead, but extend the lead. Play to win, don't play not to lose. And, you know, and there's a fine line there. And I don't know if some of these young guys don't have the experience of how to hang on or extend that lead, because, you know, we looked pretty good in that first half.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a chance. We never talked about this, but yeah, but for me, when we didn't go for that fourth down and we opt for the field goal, though we missed, I just felt like Lucy pulled the ball out and Charlie Brown's flying. I'm like, oh.
But then you throw Gruden in the mix. Now, if he were the coach, would he have gone forward? Because he's been in that situation many times before. Maybe. And that would be, for me, where you'd want someone with that sort of history behind him, with that sort of coaching resume. He would probably have made the call to go for it, but it was early in the game.
I think the analytics would have said to kick the field goal. I think that's what.
Had that field goal been made, I don't think anyone would have ever even uttered or mentioned that fourth down play again.
Exactly.
But it was missed, and then you're sitting there like, we come away with nothing.
Right. And then
we came back and marched it right back down the field and scored. and then scored again. And it was like, are we really this good? And the answer is yes. We are that good.
We can be.
But we don't know how to play an entire game yet and keep it together. And that's what some teams do, and that's what coaching does for players.
I was excited for Marcus Peters to be a Raider, and then I guess I would have to say I'm excited that Coach got rid of him, because if he didn't, he's allowing that, and it was clear that Marcus was not trying all the time.
It did look that way on
Right.
certain plays, and people see it.
Yeah,
You see it, and you're like, is Marcus not giving 100%? It may be just old age just caught up to him, and that was his 100%. Who knows? But
right.
you need
right.
a guy out there that when he's giving 100%, you know that it's 100%.
Right. And I you see those plays. He still has some in the tank, but I also don't think he wanted contact at all.
It's tough for any of us that ever played that took some hits to the head, and that's probably all of us.
Mm-hmm.
There are some times that you don't want to make a tackle because you know if you stick your head in there, it's going to get rattled.
Right.
I don't know how many concussions I may have played with over the years, or had concussions and went right back out and played and tried to avoid tackles.
I played high school. I played 1 year of junior college, and then at 26, I played for 5 years. I was in Italy, and I ended up playing for the Milan Blackhawks, and it was like a club thing. It wasn't like anybody came out, and this is my one quote after the first game. Oh my God, this hurts. I forgot how much this hurts. It hurts. You forget every time somebody hits you, there's a bruise, and you forgot about those bruises. When you're in high school, I'm used to it.
Summer ball, I remember those first few practices. You'd come home and you're like, what am I doing?
That plastic helmet in your back, even the face mask scratching your back. It hurts. The most hurt the most are the ones where no one's even watching. No one's even seeing. It's like the play's over here and you're just getting drilled on for whatever.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
oh my gosh. And so in that regards, I understand the Michael Peterson thing. And I hated that we had half max,
half max, he still wanted to be out there.
I know.
See, that's contagious. Now, Marcus Peters on one hand, he was out there, but it felt like he wasn't giving 100%, and people see that.
Right.
So that, in a sense, he might not have been a vocal cancer, but based on his actions, could be construed as a sort of a cancer on a team. Like,
well, what's that?
He's a veteran. He's not trying, and others might try to emulate what he's doing. So you got to get rid of that.
I hear a Southern Baptist minister saying, "It's your walk, not your talk."
And I like Marcus Peters. I do too. But I guess it happened. So and I don't begrudge anyone for making that happen.
Right.
It's all about trying these young guys so that when we suit up again next year, well, maybe it's this year, that they'll have that experience under their belts, and there's nothing like game experience.
And I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I know this: if you have an NFL team that you're playing on, maybe you don't get hammered the night before the Chiefs game. I don't know. Maybe you save that till 5 more weeks from now, and maybe they have like a driver in Vegas. Maybe they have a Uber or a cab. Maybe, and then maybe you don't have a teammate or a lot of team just in jail for murder for the same thing.
Gnarly, you're a grown up. Those are you did a lot of crazy things up until you're about 30, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, probably I was holding on to that.
And you didn't have 6 figures, 7 figures in your pocket on a regular basis to do a lot of crazy things with. They're kids, man. And,
I know.
But they do need to be responsible. And yeah, the NFL, they have a program, at least they used to, with Uber. Well, they got free rides, man.
Right.
You just call and they take you, pick you up. It's ridiculous. So if you want to be out drinking before a game,
but you're right.
I don't understand it.
I have never been in a position where I had a lot of money. I was, like where I could kind of do what I want. I'm young. The world's my oyster. I'm now on the Raiders, and people want my autograph. I mean, it's hard for me to sit back and judge. I walked a day in those shoes, So I get what you're saying too,
But take a guy like Max, who used to be a heavy drinker,
mm-hmm.
and now he does. I guess he only smokes cigars now, but he does.
His lung cancer's coming down.
He doesn't party anymore, but he'll smoke a cigar, and he has to be an example to some of those young guys. Like, well, this guy is not drinking, and he's really dedicated to his craft. Maybe I should start doing that. And you hope that happens. So, you weed these guys out. We had some guys in the previous years. It was another defensive back, the one Arnett with the guns and the drunk driving, and it's like, come on, man, you've got to know better. Well,
it's like if you could pick in the draft, go for a guy with a bad like drug or drinking problem, and hope that they do a Max Crosby where they quit because they were so bad, and then they put all their energy into the other. Because
my goodness,
he's got so much energy. My buddy, he used to own the Outback Steakhouse in Pleasanton, right there on.
Yeah.
And many times he told me, he goes, "Your kicker was in here again." Janikowski used to go there on Wednesday during the season and fall off a bar stool drunk. And I was like, man, but he's just the kicker. But I'm like, can't you wait till after the season, please?
Listen, kickers do nothing, man. You've ever been to training camp and watched the kickers? They're doing nothing, man. They're playing golf with the football. They're kicking to a spot.
Yeah.
And then they do a shorter kick, and then they dribble it to like the goalpost, and they play games all day long.
Janikowski's the John Daly of kickers.
Oh, yes.
I bet he was hammered half the games.
That's a good analogy. The John Daly of kick. Yes.
That is right on, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, but kickers do nothing at training camp. They're just running around, kicking balls, and it's like games. They have games. They have games that they play amongst the kickers. Because you got all the 2 or 3 place kickers, 2 or 3 punters, and it's crazy, man. I watch those guys.
If they got a new guy coming in to take his job, though, they get a little serious sometimes. But
yeah. When you know that's your job, it's falling off of bar stools every night. Are you kidding me?
Speaking of bar stools, I think it was Matt Barr or Chris Barr, the Raider kicker from the 80s.
Chris Barr.
I think it was Matt Barr.
Chris
Barr. Well, my friend was a DJ in LA, and there was a bar that had there's basketball you could shoot in this bar, big old bar, but there was a field goal thing. And he would bring Chris, they were friends, and he would go down and he would win every kicking contest because he's a professional kicker. And they're usually like amateur drunks, and he wouldn't tell them who he was, and they would disguise him.
Right, because he didn't look like a football player.
No.
He's a regular sized guy.
80s LA, who's this little scrunchy guy coming in here? What is this? And he'd win everything. Pretty funny stuff. All right, the Chiefs. Let's go back to the Chiefs game. You said that, it was our game to win. We were over our head, and,
But, we had 0 penalties in that game.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty clean game from a standpoint of not giving away something other than the missed field goal. 358 yards for the Raiders, 360 for the Chiefs. Pretty even, man. Time of possession, they were 30-45. Yep. We were 29-15. Even. Yeah. We even had a 100-yard rusher. It comes down to knowing how to win and knowing how to capitalize on the situations that you're in, and they did that better than us in that game. And do you hang your head? I don't think so. They're the Super Bowl champs. you just have to learn from it, man. You just got to learn from, do we go for it on fourth down, or do we kick it? I bet if that situation comes up in the Minnesota game this week, they'll go for it on fourth down. 4th and 2 or less, to go for it.
Well, and like you said, that's. But there's one more thing I want to address with you, is that Bisaccia's name's been popping up, because I guess he's interested in the job, and I have mixed feelings, because the Bisaccia guys, most of those players are gone, and I don't know if you could recapture that genie in a bottle.
Yeah,
and we have a similar situation.
It is. It's very similar. You take a coach. Not one of the coordinators, although Bisaccia was special teams, wasn't he?
Special teams, yeah.
And you elevate him to the head coaching job and let him manage the team. I like Antonio Pierce.
I do too.
There's something about him, man, and I think he needs that opportunity. Yes, he's green behind the ears, but you have to start somewhere. And if you put a nice team around him, or when I say team, a team of coaches, they can cover up some of those deficiencies. And if you had perhaps a stronger offensive coordinator, or more forceful, to say, let's go for it on fourth down. It's early in the game. We're deep in their territory. The worst happens is they get the ball here on about the 15-yard line, or wherever it was. I'd say that's one that he's probably kicking himself, excuse the pun, for not going for that.
Yeah, but maybe not. I know this. I want Antonio Pierce back. Now, I don't know if it would be possible to bring in someone to be the head coach and not be him. I don't know if he could handle going back to what he was doing, or they can't. As much as the Rich Bisaccia thing was maybe the right decision, I don't think it is now, and I don't think there's a way they both can be there. But maybe there is. I don't know.
That's a tough one. I thought about that, where a guy was elevated to an interim coach, and then they bring a new coach in, and that. I can't think of. I'm sure there are situations where someone has fallen back into their role as coordinator or position coach.
Well, remember, he did move his office. The head coach office is empty. And he goes, "I'm not moving again." So that makes it sound like he wants to be a Raider, but
Well, he's not moving until it's offered.
He's not moving one time.
Until the interim level is removed.
If you made me head coach, I'll move in there. Otherwise, I'm not moving. And,
I mean, our schedule down the stretch, it's full of division games, man.
Oh,
full of division games.
The Broncos and the Chargers play us tough every time. Plus, we have the Chiefs. And really, if just by our schedule, we can at least take care of the division, we're probably not going to catch the Chiefs, So that's probably off. So we have to be wild card.
The Chiefs are 8-4. We're 5-6.
Yeah.
Tied with Los Angeles Chargers at 5-6. And the Broncos are 6-6. They're a game in front of us.
They're sneaking right up on us. I know.
What?
I know.
So while we're freaking losing games by, well, not this game, but a number of other games.
They're sneaky about it.
One score.
Yeah.
The Broncos have, man, they've righted their ship, because
it's never easy in NFL. It's never easy. So
no, it's not. And this game, this Viking game, it's not going to be easy.
No,
because they're the number 13 defense and the number 10 offense. I mean, it's pretty good balance. You're on the upper third on both sides, pretty much. Well,
I don't want to blow out either way. I don't want to lose my ball. I don't want to win by. I want a nice, solid game. I want a lot of Josh Jacobs, and I want us to cut ramping up toward the end of the year, and let's get that momentum going.
Well, as we always say, it starts with this game in front of us, and if there's a game that we need, it is definitely this one.
If we lose this game, we are done. They call Rich Bisaccia probably. I don't know. I'm just saying, for Antonio's sake, they got to win 3 out of these 4, or they got to go.
Gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go now. It's go time.
I mean, and if we don't go, do we look for a quarterback in the draft, or do we have the quarterback now?
I think we probably do. I think now that you have to have 2 quarterbacks. Every team's got to have 2.
Yeah, but is Aiden the guy that you roll to the fufuture with?
I refuse to answer on the grounds it can incriminate this season.
Because I saw an article that says, the Raiders can get Penix or Nix or Caleb Williams, three quarterbacks out of the now defunct Pac-12.
The Sac-12.
the Sac-12. Now there will be a Pac something, I'm pretty sure, but because I think Washington State and Oregon State are still there, and then I think you pull in San Diego State, maybe Fresno, San Jose. I have
no idea. I don't even know how that works.
New Mexico State. Who knows? Anyway, the Raiders, man, it's an uphill battle, but you know what? I've seen stranger things happen.
That's right.
It's 5 games, and you could put together a 5-game win streak and end this thing on a high note.
Oh, I did see our coach, Antonio Pierce, on TV talking about how great the Broncos are. The Broncos. And I realized it was the the Boise team. His son played for him. And so, but I came in the middle of it. I just see Antonio talking about how great the Broncos are and this and they're men. I go, wait a minute. Oh, those Broncos. Okay, never mind. Different Bronco. Bronco.
The blue turf team.
The blue turf team. Right. All right, Mitch. So we got the Vikings. We got this. Any idea for a score? Any predictions?
Oh, let's see. The Raiders go over 30 points this game. And a couple.
Jacob goes over 200. 200.
Ooh. I say a defensive score, a couple turnovers on, fumble, interception. A sack with the quarterback fumbling the ball, and then Splain or somebody picks it up, runs it back, and then we get an interception in the game because Dobbs has a tendency to throw it up there. We might get 3 turnovers in this game, which is really going to set us up. I think Dobbs is the key. I hate to say it this way, but I think Dobbs is the key to us winning. Getting the pressure on him and flushing him out of that pocket and having him throw back across his body or trying to throw into tight windows, and we get some pickoffs and some tip balls, and because the defensive backs are now really going to have to show their wear because they're auditioning for that position that Marcus Peters has vacated, and so guys are going to want to show that they've earned it.
And that's almost right.
They're going to be playing, man.
They're going to be auditioned for that position.
and Max is going to flush that quarterback out. And we're going to get three turnovers this game, 1 fumble and 2 interceptions.
Love it. Mitch Adams.
That's going to help catapult us to a 31-17 victory.
Hey, show me that ball one more time. This is the perfect rotation basketball training device. Perfect for a stocking if you have that big. It's great. It's a basketball training device. Check it out, perfectrotation.com. Mitch Adams, thank you as much.
And 30% off if you go to the Perfect Rotation website and put in Raiders as the discount code.
That's your code. Can't beat that. It's going to help you. All right, Mitch, we'll see you next week. Go Raiders. Beat the Vikings. Let's do that.
Yes, 31-17. Go!
Woo!
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.